Hello, everybody. My name is Mitch Case, and welcome to More Than a Business Live. I am the owner and founder of More Than a Meal, where we help organizations strengthen their most valued relationships by showing gratitude and appreciation one meal at a time. This is episode 3, and I could not be more excited to introduce you to our guest. But before I do that, we want to just give you a heads up on what this whole thing is all about. Over the last 2.5 years, as I've been more involved in talking with business owners and HR executives, what I've come to find out is that there are some individuals working hard to make places of work fun to show up to, desire to come to, not get those Sunday night feelings, and actually come in energized and excited to be in the place that they are. And I wanted to make sure we highlighted those individuals. So as this live show continues to grow, that's what you're going to continue to get. And I hope that by the end of this, you guys are able to grab little nuggets from each individual as well as organizations and the things that they put into place to create an inclusive, desired location to work, build a more positive culture that really allows people to flourish within the organization itself. So without further ado, I do want to bring in our guest, Stephanie Farley with Berry Companies. I'm incredibly excited. We've had short conversations before this show, and you come across those individuals where you just click and you know that this person truly understands the meaning of what more than a business really is. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in Stephanie Farley. Stephanie, welcome to the show. Tell us how your day is going so far.
Well, first of all, thanks, Mitch, for having me here. It's Thursday, and I was just telling Mitch Thursday is my favorite day of the week. You know, you're through the beginning where everything is crazy and you're trying to get through all the piles from the weekend, but you're not quite to those at Friday afternoon, 4:00 emails. So this is my get everything done you possibly can day.
Yes. I'm off location right now, so I'm trying to make things work as best as they can. So in the reality of live, if there are interruptions that come through from either kids or dogs, that's going to be the case, and we'll just keep moving on. But Stephanie, what I always like to do to start this show to really kind of bring people in is just talk about an impact story. So I'd love for you to share a specific story or an example that really demonstrates the impact that Berry Companies has either had on an individual within the organization or maybe the community that they serve. So tell me a little bit maybe about that story.
Sure. I think, there's so many of them that we talk about all the time. When we are really widespread. We've got about 1,340 employees across 9 states. And one thing that I think always kind of shines in what we do is anytime we have employees that are going through, could be health situations, could be personal family situations, it is amazing to me to see our teams just really bond together and support that person. And it could be people that are totally in another division, not even in the same state. And you'll see them send congratulations or send, hey, we're thinking about you as you're going through this breast cancer scare, things like that. So even when our own teams, it's pretty incredible. We also are really engaged in the communities that we have locations in, and right there in Kansas City in your area, we are involved with the Veterans Community Project.
Oh, yeah.
Bobcat is a big supporter of that. We've done for the last couple of years the Sleep in Heavenly Peace, which is kind of a program that supports foster kids and builds beds for them.
Oh, okay.
So that's something that, again, Casey Bobcat has done. In the Rockies, as an example, they're connected with the Wounded Warrior Project. And so we try to really get involved in the communities everywhere we're at to make sure that we are giving back, just as our customers, help us grow business as well.
What kind of, just kind of diving in maybe a little bit deeper, especially like maybe we can hone in on, maybe is a specific example with the breast cancer scare. I know that can impacts a lot of people. Personally, my family has been impacted from breast cancer. What kind of ripple effect do you see throughout the organization when you see somebody from one state caring about another state that maybe you tell me, maybe they've met each other in person, but I just imagine like that camaraderie can have some sort of ripple effect. So what do you see that has an impact within the organization?
So that particular situation was an employee down in our North Texas division. And, as we kind of got the word out, hey, send good thoughts and good vibes. We've got this employee who's dealing with this. And that's never something that we would share without permission, of course. But, it's interesting to see that different branches all over our footprint would share pictures of, hey, we all wore pink today just for you in North Texas, or it was in our newsletter. Hey, we all want to know we're sending you good vibes. We had one branch that sent a lot of pink ornaments. It's kind of amazing. And our people, even though they're widespread, we try to do a lot with getting them together. We will bring all our service managers together every other year, or branch managers, or whatever role it be, so that they can, one, build their own support system. Hey, I've got somebody in 61 other branches I can call, ask for best practices. Have you ever had to deal with this? Things like that. So we want them to build that network too. But what that does is create relationships across our whole organization of people who can support and can help and can say, hey, I know what you're dealing with, or I've been there before, so know that we're thinking about you. It's very impactful. And I think for me, I love seeing that. It's kind of like that mama bear role where you see, oh man, they're all doing so good for each other. But it's just really neat to see the caring and the engagement that people have, even when they may only see you once every 2 years.
Yeah. And we'll find out after I ask this question. It sounds like from what you told me is that you didn't coordinate everybody wear pink or put these things together. It sounds like that's almost grassroots, like, hey, let's get together and do this. What do you think within, whether it's initiatives that you've done or your direct team has, like, what has empowered those individuals to even go about doing that? Sorry, this was not a question that you probably expected, but it just came up on my head here.
No, absolutely. And you're right. I did not do that. We may do some things from the corporate office, but I think that's probably the best part of it is our people just know, hey, there's a need and we can do something, or we can show some support in some way. One of the it's a value that we kind of pass throughout our whole organization, and we talk about autonomy. We want to hire the right people. We want to give them the tools that they need, and then we want to get it out of their way. And people will make mistakes along the way, and we absolutely expect that. Sometimes there's conversations later to say, hey, here's how that could have been handled, or next time you might consider this. But I think what that gives all our people is they feel like they're in control of their role and their position within our branches or within our organization. And we tell them all the time, we want to hear if you have ideas. We want to know what could we do better. We want to know what you've seen other places. So when you empower people to say, hey, have we thought about this? Or, hey, have we considered this new thing or whatever's coming up the pipeline? I think it allows your people to also say, hey, I've got another idea. Have you thought about this? Or, hey, we should do this. So a lot of those initiatives come from our people, and they're not waiting for someone to tell them what to do. They come up with the great ideas themselves.
That is, I think at its core, if I were to just break down everything that you just said, is that you allow trust to be throughout the organization, from individuals that maybe felt that at some point being micromanaged or anything along those lines, and just saying, look, there's an expectation within the organization, but we trust that you will get the stuff done that you do. I absolutely love that. Macy says she loves hearing that stuff too. So thank you, Macy, for tuning in. With that, before we transition to the next section, I totally forgot to ask, if you are listening in, let us know where you're listening from. If you have any questions throughout this that you want to ask Stephanie, go ahead and put those in the comments, and I'll try to come to those in a little bit towards the end of the show. But Stephanie, as we do transition now, really want to hone in on berry companies now, and really truly what sets the company apart that makes it more than just the business. And maybe you can, I'll allow you to focus in on core values or mission statements, or maybe even unique approaches. This is the time to really help us understand what truly makes berry companies more than just a business.
Sure. I'm going to step back just a little bit and kind of give you the picture of who we are.
Yeah.
Berry Companies is a corporate entity. We are kind of the support staff for 9 divisions of construction equipment dealerships across the United States. So that's 61 branches of construction equipment dealerships. So when you think about that, we're widespread. And so we're a family-owned business. Culture is really important to us. And it's interesting when you say that buzzword culture, everybody says, yes, we have a good culture. And every organization does have a culture, but that culture is really whatever those shared, what are those shared viewpoints? What is the feeling you get when you walk in there? And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. And how you define good would also be different everywhere you go.
Absolutely. Yep.
For us, when we started off in 1957, as one branch or 2 branches, as we grew, we said, okay, we want to make sure that we keep that small family-owned culture, even though now we're 61 branches large. So we really talk about what does it take to keep that autonomy? What does it take to keep that humility, that, to keep customers wanting to do business with us? We
Yeah.
want our employees to want to work for us. We want our vendors to want to work with us. And so how do we keep those relationships growing? And it really comes down to us. I mean, the key word there is relationships. And no matter how big we get, we never want to grow bigger than we can maintain those relationships that keep us where we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, for us, we talk about our culture and we talk about work-life balance. We talk about making sure that we have provided all the tools that our people need, that they have continual training and development, that they have a place to go. We hope it's always to stay with us as they grow.
Of course.
But either way, we want to give them the tools for them to be successful. We want them to be able to take care of our customers. And if we take care of our employees, they will in turn take care of our customers.
Of course. Of course.
So that's part of that. Again, like I said, we want to give them the tools and get out of their way. So we talk a lot about the relationships that we build with our teams, how we work as a team, how we collaborate, how we empower our customers to be successful with their own businesses, what all that means clear down the line. So as long as we're doing all the things that work towards that, then we feel like we're being successful. A lot of companies say they have a great culture, and it might even be written on the wall and it's in our handbook. But sometimes if you ask those employees, what does that mean? They have no idea, because they saw it one time on their first day of work. So we make it a point to make sure we keep talking about it. And we tell our people, if you feel like we are ever going in a direction that gets us off of these core values, call us out on it, because we got to know.
Yes. Transparency. I love that. I want to touch on, you said you have 61 branches across 9 states. Is that correct?
Yep.
Talk about the challenges that you face on making sure, because I feel like you want that culture to be the same across all 61. You are only one person. So you being split into 61 pieces is not possible. How do you maintain that same culture and feel across the board? Because I mean, that's not, like you said, that's not throwing up some words on a wall and everybody now gets it. How do you go about, can you talk to us a little bit about the intricate details on how you go about that?
So the beauty of Berry companies, and I feel so much gratitude and appreciation to be in my role and to work for an organization that has the structure like we do. So often you see that culture, engagement, employee, all those buzzwords are thrown into HR, and they say, hey, we're going to do all this other stuff over here. We're going to give you a really small budget, but we want you to do really good things with this as your team of 3 or 4 or 5, whatever it is.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
But culture can't be one department, and it can't be one person. It really has to be everywhere within an organization, and everybody has to believe it, feel it, teach it, be an example of it, or it doesn't go anywhere. So, I feel very blessed that my entire team that I work with in a leadership capacity, we're all very engaged with how do we get this across, and how do we continue to do what we do in the business world and be successful, but remain culture focused, remain people focused over profits every time. It's in our mission statement, people over profits every time.
Yes.
We want to do well. We want to serve our customers. But if we can't do that and keep our people on top, then we don't want to do it. So it has to be something where we're constantly training our managers. We're constantly, we have leadership development programs. We have management leadership training, all those things that we're consistently putting out there to say, we got to keep creating ambassadors in every single branch, at every level of employee, managers, frontline, everywhere, because those are the people that are going to share and be the example. So
that is the
can't be from a corporate video. Yeah.
That I've never heard it explained that way. And that is pure gold. Like it's not, culture is not a department. It is the individuals and ambassadors that you just talked about. I've never heard it explained that way. Thank you for sharing that. All right. Now's the time I kind of want to transition into you, Stephanie. What motivates you to come in every single day? We talked before you came on here, just like Thursdays are your favorite day, but there are 4 other days throughout the week. Maybe not also always glamorous or anything along those lines. So what continues to have you show up and pour into the individuals that you get to work with and create a more positive impact in their lives?
Well, I tell you, we don't do much that's glamorous. This would be the most glamorous thing that I will do all week, Mitch, I'll tell you.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm happy I can be that for you.
I think what I love about what we do, if you ask most people who are in the HR field or in, business development or in the people business, they will talk about the desire to improve people's situations or the desire to help. That word help always comes up.
Yeah.
But I think for me, what I love about working with people and trying to create that engagement and the programs that make people better is I love to see people be able to step outside of themselves, see that they're part of something bigger than themselves, and then just do amazing things with that knowledge. So it's the little things that we can do to remove the stress barrier that may come with benefits, because everybody loves insurance and benefits so much, and everybody understands
don't say the I word to me right now.
Right. So how can we make that better? How can we help your situation? How can we listen to your struggle and figure out how we can make that better? How do we prepare you for the next role? How do we prepare your organization for bench strength and make sure that we've got all those pockets filled, as people move throughout the organization, as people retire? I think in the field of HR, the last 5 years has been an interesting trip between COVID and, the workforce changing and our generations of employees that are changing and the impact that that's had. And for me, the learning experiences that I've had have been awesome. Just getting the opportunity to work with a great team and to say, hey, this is what we're working with. What do you think? And know that we don't have the answers. We don't have to have the answers. We're going to figure it out as we go, and we're going to do the best that we can like everybody else. And as we gather more knowledge, we're going to put it into practice, and we're going to make sure that we're doing the best that we absolutely can for our people. So that's what fuels me every day. No day's the same. Yeah. And we kind of have a balance between, what we need to do and what we should do. And it's a whole lot easier than we think. When we talk about employee engagement and making people want to come in and want to do their best and what we're willing to actually do. And, we all want the same things. We all want to feel valued. We all want to add value. We all want to feel appreciated. But how we do that for each individual person is, one of our biggest challenges. And that's what intrigues me so much.
And it has to be different. I see organizations that kind of have the boilerplate things. We're going to do this for everybody. And that's when I've started to realize, like, the organizations that are truly like excelling and growing almost have it personalized down to the individual. And I know that can be really challenging when you have 61 locations, but personalizing that. And, there's a book called Giftology by John Ruhlin that I go back to so often. And he talks about true appreciation does not have a price tag. You can go out and get somebody $1,000 thing, and they're probably going to love it and be overwhelmed. But I've been giving my parents stamps of my children's hands that look terrible in the shape of a reindeer or something like that. And they are more excited about that versus the gift that I went and spent money on. So I really like when John Ruhlin talks about showing true appreciation has no value. It's truly the sentiment and the reason behind it that is truly the appreciation. You just hit right on that in the sense that it's different for everybody. And we have to go out and figure that out by listening, by trusting, by doing all these things that you've alluded to.
And it's not a checkbox. You can't put it on your calendar and say, okay, every 6 months, I'm going to go tell Phil he's still doing a great job at sales. So, and that's next week. I'm going to go take it done. And man, I'm feeling good because Phil's good for another 6 months. It doesn't work that way.
I feel like I just took a shot at me. Like, as an engineer, I have to have my checklists and my Excel sheet.
I get it.
So it's like, sometimes I do have to write down to make sure that I do remember to show that gratitude. But like you said, it's not the checkbox that I went and showed gratitude. It's what did I do to show gratitude?
We compare it to mission versus ministry. And our mission is our to-do list. And I'm a type A person. I have my to-do list, man, and I love getting that stuff done. And I cross it off in a Sharpie because I love that line.
It is done.
Yes. But then the ministry is the people and making sure that we're connecting with the people and that we're going in and, we're saying, hey, I see you. I see that you've done this. I see you're working on this, connect with them. And there's no checkbox for that because there's no, hey, I did my 15 minutes of, relationship building this week, or I think that's enough. I mean, there's no metrics. You never know if it's, if it's working or if it's not. You just know it's a continual process. And so even those, like, I'm a people person, and I have to remind myself, get off the mission because it's time for the ministry. It has to be a balance, or we don't have those same connections.
You're bringing so many like new realities to me, and I don't want to downgrade it by any say. Like it feels very common sense, but the way that you're putting it is a very easy way to wrap my head around that. And I think it is, I'm sitting here thinking within my organization, how often am I on the mission versus the ministry? I got some takeaways from this one today, Stephanie. I did put up Macy's post or comment again. She is just very happy with all the words that you're saying and buy-in from everyone. And I look forward to having Macy on the show here maybe in a couple of months. But this is kind of the point of the show. Obviously, I introduced the fact that, my wife and I own a business, More Than a Meal, and a way to show gratitude for you taking the time today. We want to make sure that we offer a meal to someone within your organization that you feel could use a meal. So at this point, maybe name somebody and give as much or as little information as you would like on why you are wanting to do that. And then after the show, we'll make sure that we're able to get that released to them. But yeah, go ahead and tell us somebody that deserves to receive a meal.
Okay. Well, first of all, when you told me that I got to prepare for this, this is super exciting. I could have a list of 100 people, and so it's
maybe we can talk offline if you have 100 people that we should.
Yes. We actually have an employee. He's been with us for 20 years. He's with our bearing material handling division here in Wichita, and he is having open heart surgery today. And so it was just totally obvious to me. I said his family needs to receive a meal, as that would help, just bring a little comfort, a little ease to a situation that's going on. So Gil is going to receive that meal from me today.
Well, we'll personally, as a man of faith, I'll say a prayer for him as well, just so that he can recover quickly, and hopefully the family is at ease with that. But yeah, we'll make sure that we get that released out to him and his family here when we are done. Stephanie, thank you so much. I think there's so many good things that you have provided. What's the best way for somebody to reach out to you if they have more questions, or they're interested in hearing more about berry companies, and just figuring out ways that they can hang out with you, Stephanie? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
I'm always open to collaboration on things, and I love seeing new things and topics that I need to be aware of. Probably through LinkedIn, honestly, is the best way to connect with me. I'm on there all the time, just making sure that we share some of the great things we're doing, and also seeing what everyone else is doing. Yes. So taking lessons.
Well, if anybody reaches out to me and would like Stephanie's link to her LinkedIn, if you have troubles finding that, I'd be happy to get you guys connected via LinkedIn as well. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us today. Like I said, this has been very educational for me, as I get to be selfish and listen in to some of the techniques that you do as I build my business. But at the same time, I know a lot of people heard some really, really amazing things that you brought to the table today, Stephanie. So I could not thank you enough for coming on today. So have a wonderful day. And what we'll do now is, I am excited. We're going to continue this show every single Thursday at 3 p.m., bringing you individuals, business owners, presidents, CEOs, and HR executives just like Stephanie that are doing hard work, but for the best reasons possible. And next week, we're going to be bringing on Samantha Rogers. I'm excited to dive into her. She brings on a different position, a different perspective of HR in general for organizations, as she gets to serve a lot of different businesses in this capacity. So with that, I appreciate all of you guys tuning in, watching this show, hanging out with us. We will see you again next Thursday. And until then, have an awesome day, and we'll talk to you later.